Alright guys, Dennis asks me, is there any way that you can allow the user to save their own custom models in your editor? And at first I thought, what is he asking, right? Because there's a save button, you can save your model to a file, but then it made more sense. He's saying, you always take from the MPQ from Warcraft 3. Is there a way that we can create a custom model in the MPQ for the editor and we can always take references from that model? And the answer is yes, you can totally do that. So let's suppose I was going to take, here I have this cube open, and this is just, it's a player color cube. It's kind of fun, right? Here's my player color cube. Suppose that I want to have the player color cube always here in my data browser. If I want to do that, just do a save as, and save it somewhere, and we're going to name this the player color cube. All right? So this is the player color cube. And then what you want to do to make a system that'll have it is just make a new map. And in your map, just import the player color cube. Player color cube. All right, and then you want to make sure you save your map to a memorable name. So how about I'm going to do Warcraft 3 maps. We're going to save this at, well, also let's make sure it's a Frozen Throne map. So one of the ways that you can always do that is if you just put a blood mage on the ground, and then you know it'll save as an expansion map file, which is great. That way you don't have to worry about file extensions. Although it should in theory work with either one, it's just a little bit more consistent to depth. So we're going to make a map here, and then let's make a folder called Retera Model Studio. And inside that, we're going to call this the player color cube map. Right? Player color cube. Or actually, let's even make it more general than that. Let's just have this be the database map. So basically, it's a database map that's going to have all of my things that I want to persist so I can always reference them. So basically, the way that you do that then is say, let's say I want to take the peasant and I copy him, and I can give my peasant this player color cube. Sorry, I'm in views raw data. That's, you don't even have to do that. Like just do just normal units, just world editor, object editor. Basically, we go in here, we give my peasant player color cube, right? And you can take a look, as this is, you know, if I go custom here, this is my player color cube guy. That's pretty much working. And you can change the icon, maybe like the hero skill icon is red. That's a pretty good example, you know, like something like that, right? And you can call this the player color cube. And then once you do that, if you just save this database map, the key is go back to Retera Model Studio and go into Edit Preference window and go to your Warcraft data and just click Add MPQ. And then this will bring up this little drop down basically, and you should be able to go to Documents, Warcraft 3, Maps, and then wherever you saved your model. So we saved it as Retera Model Studio database map. And if you press OK on that, it should reload for a second, and then you'll have your player color cube in your unit browser, or in the data browser. We should also see that in War3 map imported player color cube. And this is persistent. So like if I close my Retera Model Studio and I open it again, I was launching it out of this code editor, but obviously for you, you might launch it from the download. And I open it again, right? Forever after from me doing this, even if I close the world editor, we forget about this map. I accidentally clicked yes. I should have probably clicked no, but it doesn't matter. So, you know, we close the world editor, we close all that. When you go back to Retera Model Studio, because I've set it in my data store loading thing, it'll always be here in custom units, and it'll always be here in War3 map imported. And you can go either route that you want. I mean, I guess if you open it from the unit, you have the advantage of kind of the nifty little like red plus sign for the unit icon up there, right? But you can do it either way you want. And that way, you know, I can go to this model and I can screw around with it and make something new and interesting. And every time that I do that, and then, you know, if I save this out as big triangle, right? This is my big triangles. I just made some custom model, right? And I go back here to the viewer that's viewing the unit data. You can always just double click player color cube to go back to the original because it's that way loaded into the data store of your defaults. So yeah, you can totally do that. You can do that for any of these, any units. I think in one of my previous videos I showed how you could load like the StarCraft units from Project Revolution instead and have that as your standard unit list. So it should hopefully just give you total control over that however you want. You can also load like the Reign of Chaos with that, I think. But maybe that's something for another video. So here you go. That's how you do it. You just make a data store map and you just pointed at your Datastore map. And as long as you don't move the map, you should be fine. So it is true that, I guess to go along with that, it is not a snapshot of the map, it is a reload of the map every time you start. So like if I go back to my Datastore map, let's see, database map, this guy. And inside the database map, let's say I actually make the rifleman use the model of, let's say I really like this camera object in extra, and I save that on the rifleman, right? And I'll do that, and I'll close the map. This, of course, has the side effect that if I open Retera Model Studio and I'm browsing, then you see the rifleman is modified, he's pink. And if you double click the rifleman, it opens the camera. It does not open the rifleman. So that's obviously something to keep aware of, is that if you set up a Datastore map like this, it'll always be loading that Datastore map, even if you modify it. I think it loads once on startup, and then once if you go to the preferences window. So like if you change the map while all the programs are still open and you open this thing and push OK, that might cause a reload here. But definitely if you just close Retera Model Studio and open it again, it'll always reload from that map, from what's inside of there. So there you go. That's how you do it.